Panago Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Well, how about this? At Leafs practice this afternoon, we have no Freddie Anderson, no Austin Matthews, and no Jake Gardiner.
I did not get a chance to read any of that. I was in the car.
The Leafs' best centerman, arguably the Leafs' defenseman, and definitely the Leafs' best goalie.
Arguably the Leafs' defenseman.
Those are the worst things.
You know what's funny is that is such an accurate description of Jake Gardiner.
He's the Leafs.
Arguably the Leafs defenseman.
He is kind of the archetype, isn't he?
Whenever he jumps up in the rush, I'm like, God, he could easily be a $5-6 million winger if he just wanted to be.
Sure. Yeah.
If he just wanted to be.
Yep, absolutely.
Instead, he'll be a $5-6 million defender.
Can you imagine a Bozak, JVR, Gardner line?
Just Freddy never being anywhere like within 50 feet of any teammate ever.
Like if would Jake Gardiner be better at being Thomas Vanek than Thomas Vanek?
Ooh.
Because Thomas Vanek plays zero defense. Like he is a power play specialist. Got himself, what did he get, a 5 or 7 year deal in Buffalo or New York?
American Sergei Kostitsyn.
Does Thomas Vanek have a 40-goal season?
I think he's 35 at least. He had he had a couple good years in Buffalo. Yeah. Amazing years, in fact.
Boy, we went a distance
Thomas
just now.
Vanek has two 40-goal seasons.
He's not a bad player on his
How many
career.
30-goal seasons after that?
He's got a 36, a 32, and
Top 100 player.
A bunch of 20s.
Top 100 player, Thomas Vanek. Top 100 player.
Forget Gino. Where was Thomas Vanek in the top 100 of all time?
Yeah, everyone complaining about Chara and Thornton and Iginla.
You're all wrong. You're clearly all wrong.
Thomas Vanek is clearly where it's at.
Buffalo Sabres legend, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer.
I mean, if he's going to edge out the likes of P. Kane and J. Taves, got to give him his due.
So 2 questions.
Okay.
1, what's 36 divided by 15? 2.
2 something. 2.5.
2. Yeah, 2 something was my exact answer.
What year and number was he drafted?
Oh, 5th overall.
Oh. Of course you know that.
First to S and the long divide. And then
2002?
Wow.
5th overall.
Oh, wait, can I change it?
Go ahead.
I think it was 2003.
2003.
Oh my God.
And I didn't see.
You know what? That's a new game we should play with Steve every episode is the draft game.
Okay, yeah. Where was this vague player drafted? Okay, now long divide.
No, long divide first to throw you off.
True.
Right?
If you gave me enough time, I could actually figure out the decimal, but it would take a very long time.
Couple things we need to hit before we get into the actual show today. I mean, well, we're in the show, but first thing, we got to talk about Panago's brand new hashtag Road to the Cup hockey combo.
We need to do that.
So basically, we've got this new combo from Panago Pizza. You can get 2 medium recipe pizzas, 10, which includes a 10-pack of fire-grilled wings, which are so good, and cheesy bread. As if pizza was not enough cheesy bread, you get some bread with some cheese on it after you've eaten your pizza with cheese and bread and sauce on it.
Their cheesy bread is so good.
It is so good.
Cheesy bread is cheesy bread. Pizza is pizza.
You're right. Yep.
Let's not pretend like they're the same thing. If they were, they wouldn't have it.
Yep.
They do.
It's true.
Can we order it right now?
We can.
I would kind of like that.
I just ate, so nope. Screw you guys.
You just said we can't.
Well, you can, but like,
You're old.
Can you just wait till I'm...
That's how I know you're old. I ate is an excuse for not eating. That is never an excuse for not eating.
That's true.
When you're young.
And I'm not even thinking because I could eat a whole pizza right now. It's just that if I did, I know that I would regret it later.
I used to go to my friend's house, eat dinner with him and his family, go home and have dinner. Like, how dare you? I just ate.
I used to have dinner before and after hockey. Like before and after hockey games.
Oh, Panago hears this, and they're like, "We want Steve to read the rest of them. We want someone who respects food."
Anyway, it's basically like if you want hockey and pizza together on a Saturday night, it starts at like $43, but it's basically perfect for if you're having people over and you're watching the game.
Exactly.
Hashtag Road to the Cup, Panago Pizza hockey combo. Now we want to
make sure you didn't just eat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also want to shout out Andrew Otero, who proposed to his girlfriend. He's a longtime listener of this podcast. Now, the reason this is special is because Andrew was on me for like several weeks because he's like, hey, man, where did you get your ring? How did you do the ring thing? Because I told you about how I didn't go through like a typical jeweler. I actually went to someone who did.
You went and harvested the diamond yourself.
I went and dug it up myself. No,
you rolled up your sleeves, revealing beefy, hairy forearms.
But I was able to make the ring. Anyway, Andrew went to my girl, Suzanne, and got the ring.
Suzanne Summers?
No, not Suzanne Summers.
So impressive.
Her name is Suzanne Taylor. If you would like her contact, I can give it to anybody who wants to propose. She did not make it.
Did she forge the diamond?
Suzanne Summers
in
could have.
between her thighs.
Suzanne Summers could have because she would work out. Anyway, Suzanne, he drove up from the States to get that, to talk to her specifically. He drove up from the States to do this.
Does his girlfriend, fiance, know that he went to all this trouble?
I don't know.
I hope she does. The bother. I hope she knows the bother that he went to for his love for her.
Did you also know that we're being used now in applications for jobs?
No.
So Emily messaged me.
Like us?
Our show. Emily messaged me on Instagram. And she said, hey, Adam, I had a job interview. One of the questions was what podcasts I listened to. The interview was at a digital marketing agency. So I mentioned I listened to a hockey podcast, and the interviewer asked me which one. I said the Steve Dangle podcast. So he asked me to describe it, and I told him it was 3 Canadians, one who yells about the Maple Leafs, while 2 friends watch and occasionally chime in. I hope I get the job. Peace and blessings from New York, Emily.
That's okay.
That's pretty cool.
Right, that's
I think that's a pretty accurate description.
I was applying for a job at Schneider's.
What industry is this?
She was applying for a job in the digital marketing agency. I told her to update us. I want to know if she gets it.
What's her name?
Emily.
Emily, it's not looking good.
You don't think so?
No.
I think this is I think this is a fine quality podcast, and I don't see why any digital marketing agency wouldn't be a part of it.
I don't trust people who listen to us.
I always apologize.
I don't listen to me, so I don't know why anyone else
When people listen, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Are you one of those people who you're like, I don't trust my friends because I don't like anyone who would like me.
Exactly.
Who the hell would? I don't trust their judgment because they think I'm okay.
You know, Steve, you got to get close to someone to stab them in the back.
What?
So
wow,
you can't trust anybody who's within back distance.
Is that the plan? You made that sound like that's the plan.
Jesse getting all Machiavelli on us.
Are we gonna die?
I mean,
it sounds a little like
that. Yeah.
Some of us watched Goodfellas recently and got some ideas.
Well, okay, fair enough. Lastly, I want to shout out Andrew Myers, who I believe is a member of our armed forces, based on his Twitter profile. I want to think about. He said, "Think about this for a second. We are closer in age to Patrick Marleau than Austin Matthews."
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
The two of you are.
Yes, we are. You're not. But we are closer in age to Patrick Marleau than it is Austin Matthews. Doesn't that make you sad?
How old are you again? 25?
21.
Shut up.
Yeah.
So you're closer to. You are equally. No, you are equal. You're right in between Austin Matthews and Roman Polak. I'm pretty sure.
Good.
Wait a second.
We're old.
How old is Roman Polak?
I think he's 30 or 31.
Roman Polak to me is forever 47.
He was born with a 5 o'clock shadow. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
And you know what's funny is that, growing up watching hockey, you always think of the guys as so much older. I think this is true of any sport. Mm-hmm. And then you get to that age and you still think, they're so much older than me. Yeah. And they're not. They're not. Patrick Marleau, when we were 20, was like 27. He's not. He could be your older brother.
He was a young dude.
He's got like 18 kids now, too.
I'm weird going into the Leafs locker room. Like, age is such a weird perception. It's also how people are treated and spoken of. Yeah. So, Matthews, okay, we talked about Marner as, this little kid. He's this little kid. But he's a year older than Matthews. But then you walk up to Matthews, and that guy is the size of a man. Mm-hmm. And so you think he's older. Zaitsev, I looked at as this guy who, he played years in Russia. Forget the fact that I'm probably like 5 years older than him. No, he played for Russia, in Russia
for years. He lived in Russia. He survived
Russia.
He's
a child.
And then there's Qadri, who has been 22 going on 23 for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
He still seems like a kid to me.
I think most of the fan base...
Obviously not.
I think most of the fan base still views Nozman Qadri as young. And it wasn't until recently that people started to say, Tyler Bozak's a veteran. Like he was 27 and people were like, well, he's a young kid. He's not. He wasn't a young kid 5 years ago. And he's now I think he's up over 30 now. This is just interesting, right? It's weird the way you see the perception. And I think Tyler Bozak also had a bit of a baby face going on too, right? Like he's got one of those guys that just looks youthful.
I think this year, finally, it's changed with Qadri because Matthews is here and we're like, okay, Kadri's kind of the old guy now. But last year was still Kadri's a young guy on this team.
Yeah. Look at this young
coming
upstart.
out party. Yeah. His 26-year-old coming out party.
He was drafted in 2008.
His 26-year-old already has like a 30-goal season in his back pocket or whatever. Or would have in the lockout shortened year, maybe. I don't know. Him and the whole rest of the team would have 5 goals.
Him and Local, man, they were lighting it up that year. But that's because they were sheltered. They're playing third line minutes. It was great. Freddie Anderson wins the game, basically, for the Leafs last night.
He's won a few. I had a couple of people tweet me, it's the first steal since Winnipeg.
Oh, I don't
think so. He's had a few. Come on.
I don't know, guys. What is it, 896?
It's bad.
It's bad.
He's been better.
It's as bad.
Recently. It's how as bad as Freddie Anderson.
Pretty as bad.
If we had a hotkey, that would be a button.
As bad. In my view.
As bad. Weenie in the butt in the morning. In the morning. Weenie in the butt. As bad. Freddie. This team is ruining my life. Fucking duck. Weenie in the butt. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Freddie played Freddie last night. Freddie was Freddie.
Yeah, except for the part where he almost blew his shoulder, apparently.
Well, he's not. Yeah, he's like you said, not in practice. I'm sure it's just a bit of a strain. I mean, he finished the game, right?
I assume someone would have been called up already. Had there actually been an issue.
Does Fredrick Anderson need to practice? I mean, practice. We're talking about practice.
He could. If any goalie in this league could use a day off. Tim, I think he's played the most minutes, faced the most shots, something like that. McElhinney's played 2 games. Has McElhinney even come in relief in any games? None I can think of.
I don't think so.
None I can think of.
I could be wrong.
He started the 2 games. That was it. As far as I know. And they got back-to-backs coming up.
Now,
I don't know what they would do there. I would start McElhinney on the home game.
We'll talk about Bruins in a second, but the Leafs, I just want to point this out.
Yes.
I believe Edmonton Oilers are under 500 without Connor McDavid. Leafs, undefeated without Austin Matthews. Throwing that out there, so Toronto, better.
Toronto, but it's important to make that distinction. Not just the Leafs.
Toronto.
The city. Vastly superior.
And every single person in it.
All of them. Not a one. Our worst is better than your best.
You can always tell the difference between old Oilers fans who listen to the show, like Oilers fans who have listened to the show for a long time, and Oilers fans that are new to the show.
What?
Because Oilers fans that are new to the show are like, we get it. Yeah. And then they'll give it back to us on Twitter. New Oilers fans are offended.
I can't believe you said that thing and meant it. I can't believe it, frankly. Also, I'll have you know they're not made of dogs. They are made of...
Yeah. Shirley jackets are not made of golden doodle.
Yeah, you're going to learn to not take the show that seriously.
Yeah, don't. Because you know what? We're all fans. And by the way, I think, again, we've talked about this for years. Edmonton and Toronto, a lot in common there.
A little bit.
A lot of losing past.
Worth mentioning, they won. Bit of a flawed win.
Oh, I would think so. Nozman Qadri, I think, was one of the only people who had... better than 50 possession.
Matt Martin.
You mean stats, Martin, right? Am I right? Because his stats are fantastic.
I am tired of coursey nerds like Matt Martin ruining the game. Whatever happened to just watching hockey and playing the thing?
What
happened to my spit?
What happened to the eye test?
Whatever happened to it? You know?
Where did you play, Steve?
Where did I play?
Where did you play to get to start?
Of all of us,
like
he's played the most recently.
I'll have you know, I've played with NHL players. I blocked a shot.
Eric Lindros tweeted about him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can talk. You can talk about hockey.
Yeah, Big E.
The Big E.
Yeah.
The Big E. Man, it was so great being on a hockey bench and getting to say all those stupid hockey nicknames and all those.
It is fun.
They're all corny and none of them are creative. It's just okay. So we had John Druce on our team. And no less than 25,000 times during the game, Lindros from the bench, the Druce is loose! And every time he said
That's
it,
awesome.
I laughed.
That's awesome.
You know
so
why?
cool.
It was funny on the bench.
That's Eric Lindros.
If you were to say that like at a casual business lunch, I'd be like, Shut the fuck up. The Druce is... We're trying to get shit accomplished here, Greg. What is with you, Greg? You don't take your job seriously, Greg, piece of shit. But it was Eric Lindros on the bench during the hockey game. I have a question.
Okay.
Leafs looked like ass against Vegas. One. Leafs looked like ass against Minnesota. One. The Vegas win bothered me. This one did not. Why? I'm trying to figure out why.
I feel the same way. I think, first off, it feels good to put together 2 wins. After the run they had,
My God.
2 wins in a row is great. I think part of it, too, is that I think this is a team that, first off, I think coming into the season, expectations were far too high. And then they made it worse by starting 7-2. And so... As I said last episode, and it's not any offense to the players playing on the team, I don't think their defense is good enough yet. I don't think they have the talent. And it's not because Andreas Borgman can't be that. It's not because Connor Carrick can't be that, the guys that they need. And it's not because Ron Hainsey, Morgan Rielly, Zaitsev, or Gardner are bad players. None of them are. But we need...
you need a guy.
You need a guy.
The guy.
Or you need a guy to develop. And development takes time. And so I'm willing to wait because I feel like I watch Connor Carrick and I feel like it's there. Yes. I watch Andreas Borgman and I feel like it's there. But Andreas Borgman is in the first 20 games of his NHL career,
taking a lot of penalties so far.
Yeah,
Carrick
and last night the second period was like, of course they didn't have any positive possession numbers. They took 4 penalties and they spent 16 minutes. There was some goals in there, but 16 minutes essentially of a 20-minute period on the penalty kill.
Outshot,
Andreas
14-6.
Borgman's penalty was a joke.
That was a joke.
And it felt like the ref, like the guys are looking at the ref, like there were times
what
where...
are we allowed to do, guys?
Yeah.
What are we allowed to do, sir?
So to me, it's like, okay, well, they looked a little bit like garbage because when you're always shorthanded, you're going to look like garbage.
And Zaitsev he looks best on the penalty kill. 5-on-5, he's struggling because I think he's starting to get...
I think he's
gassed.
tired.
He looks gassed. But why, for some reason, did this loss not bother me as much?
I'm trying to figure that out too.
Did it feel like a gritty win? Like they kind of just mustered it out and you're like kind of more proud of the team for winning a game they weren't supposed to win?
The first period wasn't bad. I thought they dominated the first period.
Well, and they got outshot in the first 2, but like I looked at the numbers, I think, at the end of 2, and they're getting outshot something like 23-12. And I'm going, really?
Now, is that 5-on-5 though?
No, that's just overall.
That's partially, I think it.
What encouraged me the most, and it's something we've talked about, and it's hard to pick up on in the highlights, is the forwards were actually coming back and bailing out their defense. Like they should be! Mm-hmm. I think the Leafs D maybe gets blamed a little bit too much for... forwards.
I think it's a team defense issue for sure.
Of course. Marner was good.
Mm-hmm.
Hyman was good. I really like Marleau up the middle.
Well, and that's what I wanted to get to next.
Can we keep going with that?
Well, so
please?
Here's the thing. Marleau, I agree. However, they can't use him there all year.
Why?
Because he's 38 years old. And the sports science guys who work for the Leafs, and the Leafs have a very advanced sports science program. And Mike Babcock said it in the press conference last night. He said, listen, we'd love to have him there, but he's 38 years old, and a 200-foot game is a lot. The great thing about Patrick Marleau is that when guys are struggling is you can put him in there.
Arguably
you have that option.
Best player.
What's that?
I thought he was arguably their best player.
I think he's been arguably their best player every time he's played center. Has he scored? I think he's almost scored. No. I think what has he scored? 3 or 4 goals in 2 games playing center?
If anything, he was cold before they started this.
Yeah.
And then they gave it a shot. Here, let me look up the stats because I looked it up for the video today. Led the team in shots with 4. Trying to see his ice time. It wasn't that crazy. 14 minutes, 33 seconds.
So they're really managing it.
He can't give the Leafs 14 and a half minutes a night at center.
I think for the line that they have. Well, remember that time is down, though, because of all the special teams stuff.
Yeah. Well, he played a minute 19 on the power play. I suppose you're right, and maybe it would have been higher.
All the time they spent shorthanded, that's a 17-minute game.
So you're against this playing at
I am
center?
No. I am 100% for it. I understand why they can't. He is 38 years old.
If Matthews plays, he probably plays less than that. Or he probably plays that at a more even game.
My thing is this, guys. When we get to the playoffs, right? This is a young team. They looked fresh going into the playoffs last year. They weren't like limping in injured. The last thing you want is a guy like Patrick Marleau who can do both to be gassed. And at 38, it's different than 28, different than 18. And I think that I understand why they're doing what they're doing. But I bet you if the Leafs make the playoffs this year, which I think they absolutely can and will, Patrick Marleau is the center for most of it. I think he'll be the center in the playoffs because that guy knows. Like you can tell
that line.
The line was fantastic,
that line.
And you can
Big
tell
fan.
with him just the way where he puts himself.
He knows
and the
where
way
the puck's
he
going before the puck goes there.
And he's responsible and he's offensive. I mean, I love it, and I loved it the first game I saw it. I just think that it's hard to do over the course of an 82 game series or a season for anybody, let alone 38 years old. That's why I think they'll stop. But in
the LFR today, I couldn't help but think to myself, Martin, Bozak, Levo. Martin, Bozak, Levo. More has to sit. Leo, Qadri, Nylander.
Oh, that's interesting.
Leo, Qadri, Nylander, which is what they used yesterday.
And Nylander, by the way, looked great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hyman and Brown on the wings from Marleau. And the top line, Matthews dragging around those bums, JVR and Mitch Marner. Yes. Yes. All the way. Yes, please. Yes, please. They're never going to do it.
You sound like you're playing NHL.
I know I'm playing NHL. Well, and here's why. So this was the other thing I pointed out that was concerning to me, okay? So Jonas Siegel tweeted before the game that JVR supposedly said something along the lines of him, Bozak, and Marner want to be back together as a line.
Who does?
JVR, Bozak, Marner.
Okay.
Like they were last year. And I think they've been asking Babcock that, or at least once or twice have asked him that. And maybe Babcock's keeping them apart as incentive for them to get better. Well, he puts them together, partially out of need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't have a choice.
Exactly. They get one shot between them.
Oh.
It's JVR. It's a backhander in the first period. Bozak played 15-10, almost 2 minutes on the power play. Marner, who I did think looked good, played 15-47, 2 minutes on the power play. I feel like that's more than he's been playing recently. Mm-hmm. JVR, with almost 2 minutes on the power play, played 12 minutes and 4 seconds. He has played over 15 minutes in a game once in the last 12 games. Does that sound like a guy who's a key part of your team and is going to get re-signed?
No.
JVR, I think we came into the season thinking he's a tradable piece, and he is. And this is proving it.
And yet, what are his numbers? Let me look. Still has 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points, -7. Not that we really care about that number, but and he's shooting 14%. That's about right. 40%. What's up there? What's going on? Something's rotten. Like with the middle of the lineup. What is it? What can I figure out?
I mean, that's what I think they're trying to figure out. I mean, that's why they split up Bozak, Marner, JVR. I'm not seeing, I like Martin, Bozak, and Marner together, but I'm still not sold on Bozak this year.
No.
And you can't have Marner on the fourth line long term.
No. I don't think I don't know, and I have to really look into the numbers, and yes, I think they use it as the fourth line, but I don't really know if they use it as a typical fourth line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way penalties have been this season, everything's so out of whack. Like, I can't even really look at just the raw time on ice. You could look at the even strength time on ice, but even that, is a little bit skewed because then the guys who were killing penalties, well, what are they going to do? Be on the next even strength shift and the power play, you're not going to put out, I don't know. It's all very confusing. But, again, they won, and we're talking about the Leafs needing a guy on the back end. Riley's doing his best impression.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his best the guy impression. Gardner had a couple plays I didn't like, but for the most part, when Zaitsev was screwing up, Gardner was there.
Yep.
I liked Carrick, except for the dumb penalty.
That was it. Well, and it was also sort of dumb that it wasn't coincidental minors on that one.
It should have. You know what? It should have been nothing.
Yeah.
It should have been nothing because you watch it again.
This is, by the way, the penalty at the end of the game for anybody wondering.
With about 5 minutes left, yeah. Carrick went high, which is why he got the call. And I remember being like, "Oh, how does he not get how does he get the only call?" If you go back and watch what Eriksson Ek, I think is his name, what he did, it's even less. It's barely a shove. If I was Minnesota, I'd be pissed if that was a penalty. That should not be coincidental. I would have just called it nothing, but I'm also a Leaf fan.
When you mentioned that you don't know the numbers because the penalties are so out of whack this year, I looked up the penalty averages for this season and compared them to a couple from previous years.
Is this the whole league or just
this
the
is the league-wide.
Okay.
So power play opportunities are at 3.56, and that's the highest per game. And that's the highest number since 2009. It was at 3.71. And power play goals are at power play goals. Power play percentage is at 1912, which is the highest number since 1992, when it was 1957.
Can I be honest with you?
That's got to go down.
That's crazy.
I wonder what impact the faceoff
Also,
rule has
save
on
percentage is at 910, which is the lowest number since 2008.
Wow.
Because when we talk about league average goaltending, it's 15.
Yeah. Last year it was.
Last year was 913. But year before that, the previous 2 years were 915.
Hey, Freddy just came up.
I want to throw something at you. What I find frustrating about this year so far, in terms of the amount of penalties, is that when I watch hockey, I want to watch for the 5-on-5 game with a sprinkling of power play. As in, it's like when you what do you put on your burger?
Well, you guys.
What do you put on your burger?
I think it's disgusting that I like mustard so much.
I love mustard.
I really
you only
like
put mustard on your burger, right?
Oh, okay. I like mustard, onions, sometimes pickle.
Okay. So if you were to eat that burger,
Underrated guacamole.
Well, of course.
that's actually really
On your
good.
burger.
That's not a
legit.
common
You know
burger
what?
topping.
Egg on your burger too.
Oh, yeah.
Solid.
A little bit messy, but very good.
Oh, righteous. So good. Okay, so let's just focus on Steve's burger for a second.
Toronto hipster
So-
jerks.
What?
P&L Burger on Queen, when they shut down, I cried.
You know what else is good? Caviar, and on the side you have a little Pinot Gris. Adam, continue.
Let's talk about Steve's
You know
burger.
what's also delicious? Rosé and calamari.
It is, though.
That is good,
though.
though.
That
I don't
is
think
very
anybody's
good.
going to
What's wrong
deny
with
that. By the way, first date, rosé and calamari. Go for that. You will win every time. Just
Man,
saying.
I would have that right now if I didn't eat right before the show. So
You're a funny guy.
go ahead, Grandma.
So here's the... Oh, really? With the way you drive, you're going to call me Grandma?
spoiled my appetite, so I couldn't possibly.
I could go for some Panago Pizza. I don't know. Somebody else.
Can we just wait till we're all hungry and we all can participate?
I would like to order Panago, but somebody had just ate.
You don't understand. The mere word Panago gets me hungry, ravenous, puddle of drool on the floor. It's disgusting. Until you realize pizza's coming.
Can we
Then
talk
you're
about
on
hockey
board
now?
with- yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. That'd be great. Love Panago, but let's talk about hockey.
Jesse, do you want to have a calamari and rosé night and not involve Adam at all?
You assholes.
Yes.
So Steve, your burger, you like
Where did this come from?
just fucking go with it.
Power play. Penalties.
Yes.
On your burger. What do you like again? Mustard, onions,
Pickle.
mustard, onion, pickle. Would you have a burger? Two bun, like, a bun,
Top and bottom.
top and bottom, mustard, onion, and pickle with a little bit of ground beef sprinkled on top of that.
Ground beef sprinkled on top of my beef burger.
No burger. Just mustard, pickle, and onion. And
So
a little
mustard, pickle,
and a little
sandwich.
Well, that's how I feel about this NHL season.
It's not giving you the
burger.
meat.
The burger is the 5-on-5. The special sauce, the Big Mac sauce, whatever you want to call it, are the penalties and the power plays.
This shall be forever known as the condiments and garnish season.
Should
I see your.
you see what I'm saying?
Should
Like-
we rethink hockey? How we think about hockey? Should power plays
No.
be
No.
more how we look at the
I think
game
they think it's going to even out, but I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not really. I didn't enjoy the second period. Like, and I know if I were a Leaf fan, Like even as a Leaf fan, if the other team has taken 4 penalties in a row, I'm like, great, they're going to win. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, can we just play?
It's also worth mentioning that the Leafs were 6-1 and 7-2, and we were still complaining about these things.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they won last night, and we're complaining about it.
Yeah.
I've not enjoyed this season as much as others. And
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair comment.
I don't know. What happened after 05-06 is they eventually figured things out. Or how about this one? How about this theory? So the trend has been younger, faster. Mm-hmm. Well, both of those things, younger, which is inexperience, and faster, which is kind of unpredictability, are those things leading to more penalties? The fact that there are more inexperienced players, maybe, I don't have the numbers, and the game is faster than it's ever been. Combined with a couple little rule tweaks, has that caused penalties to go completely out of whack, and then next season, the year after, it comes back down to normal again? That's what happened. Like, you couldn't get more alien than the 05-06 season. That season was insanity. And then it slowly came down to the point where we're talking about making goalie pads smaller again. And making the nets bigger and curving the posts and all kinds of stupid crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I find that I'm not getting enough burger. Getting a lot of condiments, not enough burger, and that's bugging me.
It's definitely bugging me that the Leafs have one of the best 4-line teams in hockey.
And we never get to use it.
And we never get to see it.
That's true.
That is pissing me right off. Now, is that... Like, are the Leafs going to be the Preds? Like, what if they just squeak into the playoffs, and then in the playoffs, the rules change? Because they always do.
No, this year's going to be different.
And all of a sudden, we built our... Now we get to play hockey under the rules that we're accustomed to. And all of a sudden, they make it way further than anyone thinks because they barely squeaked in the first place.
We built basically a complete 4 lines, and we can use them.
That's pretty neat. Isn't that neat?
Now, I want to say the Leafs squeaking into the playoffs, the Leafs are 3rd in the Eastern Conference right now.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know if squeak in is going to be the thing.
Yeah, we have the same amount of points as the Penguins,
yeah,
right?
They've also played 17 games.
In fact,
I feel like that's more than a lot of
technically,
teams.
points-wise, tied for 2nd.
Yeah.
Well,
so... I mean,
it's the beginning of the season.
It is.
I saw someone tweet, "What if I told you the Habs were 6 points behind the Leafs?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I believe you." It's early November.
Yeah,
yeah.
Man,
if they were more than that would
games.
If you win,
This was like less than a week ago. This was probably 3 days ago.
That's my favorite. Yeah, it's November.
Yeah, it's November.
Mathematically, nobody should be surprised by that.
If your team is out of the playoffs right now and you go on a 5-game winning streak, I don't care if you're the Arizona Coyotes. You're back in the picture.
Except the Coyotes.
If you're the Arizona
Here's the thing, fine. Anyone except them.
The Coyotes are already 19 points behind the first place St. Louis Blues in their conference. Already.
Holy mackerel.
They have 6 points.
What's their record?
2-13-2. They have 6 total points this year.
Manager.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Wow.
So they have 65 games left. What's the average playoff team get?
95 points.
95.
How many games would they have to win out of the last
They would literally
65?
have to play at the top NHL point production. They'd have to play at probably 120 point pace to even make the playoffs at this point.
40 wins wouldn't even do it. Or no, 40 wins would do it. How many
44.
OT losses and stuff like that?
You need 15 OT losses at 40 wins. You need 45, 50 wins.
They have 20 regulation losses left in them before they're cooked.
Oh my God.
That's it.
Hey, that could happen before Christmas.
That's a weird way to look at it, eh? If you get X amount of wins, you make the playoffs? No.
X amount of losses.
X amount of regulation losses, you're done. You're
Good
done.
point.
They'd have to go about 45-18 to get to 96 points.
They can do it.
45-18. Let's do it.
We believe Coyotes.
Coyotes.
Hey, so Nylander looked like himself last night, even though he missed a couple. He definitely was close to being on the score sheet. I think it's going to happen next game or, one of this home and home with Boston. One thing we got to talk about is Nozman Qadri, and I was reading Jones Ezekiel this morning on The Athletic, and he said Qadri is on a currently 44 goal pace. Now there's only, I think, 5 guys or 6 guys in the NHL with more goals than him, and their names are Ovechkin, Matthews. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. He's got 9 goals.
So quietly. However,
his shooting percentage is 20.4, so it's not going to stay. But even at that, even if it doesn't sustain and it goes back to where it should be, which is like the 12 to 14 range, that means that he might be well on his way to another 30-goal season.
Oh, he's definitely well on his way to that. Also, though, that goal I don't think should have counted.
Oh, yeah, it was a bit of a high stick there, eh?
Minnesota missed it. In the same way that Babcock missed the 6th goal against St. Louis, Minnesota missed challenging that call. I don't know what they were looking at. It's those damn tiny monitors.
Yep.
Man, pro tip, I know a lot of players like to use black tape on their stick to
use white.
Yeah, use white. You can't pick it up on the monitor. You can't pick it up on the monitor.
I used to.
How stupid is that?
It's really stupid, but I used to do white tape on my stick, and then I'd tape a black strip on the middle of it, and I was a jerk. So I would play when I was in house league, I would get selected for the selects team or whatever, and we go around and tour and whatever. And one of the goalies that I played against in our house league team. And this is when we were 16 or 17 years old, so we're well past caring about going anywhere with hockey. He's like, "You son of a bitch, you actually faked me right out. I thought the puck was on your stick and it was actually on my friend." He said it does, it messes you up. Now, at the NHL level, not so much, but it was just one of those things that I used to do to...
I mean, it might.
It does catch your eye, right? It's it's stupid, but it's what I used to do.
Why is it stupid? It's deception. I like it.
I don't know who the Boston Bruins are anymore.
I don't recognize most of those names. Those names are rumors.
So left wing is a guy named Anders Bork, which is a name that I feel like when you get to season 2021 in your GM mode is what they that's the draft name that the company puts together is here's 2 names that sort of go together.
Well, the latest NHL franchise has delayed that a little bit, because they now actually have the actual draft classes going all the way back to the CHL, and they import into your new GM mode.
No way.
Yeah. So
really?
the first season you finish in GM mode, you have the actual draft class.
So you can
That's
get
crazy.
Yeah. Also Rasmus Dahlin and of course Rasmus Dahlin would be in there.
The year Matthews would have been drafted, he wasn't eligible yet because he didn't play in a league over here, and he had never signed until he'd played an actual game. So you couldn't draft Matthews yet.
That's silly.
You can get all the guys who are currently in the shoes.
So let's go. Okay, so let's go through. So there you go, producer Jesse.
I like video games a little.
Producer Jesse has quickly become the best NHL 18 player I know.
He beat me.
Steve's very good.
I know Steve's very good.
Oh, shut up.
Steve is very good.
You know you beat me.
Jesse
What was it, 2 out of
spanks
3? I'm pretty sure you beat me.
Okay.
2 out of 3.
We got to get into this, guys. Got to get into this.
I was pissed.
Anders Bork, Patrice Bergeron, David Pasternak's top line. Not bad. And then on your second line, left wing, Tim Schaller. At center, Sean Curley. And at right wing, Danton Heinen.
Those are all rumors.
And then you've got left wing, former 25-goal scorer, Matt Bolesky.
Oh.
How did you mention Pasternak?
I did, top line.
Oh, okay.
Right wing. Riley Nash. That's a name we've heard before. Austin Ziernik. Yep.
That's a rumor.
And then at left wing, and this is weird, isn't Jake DeBrusk supposed to be a high-end talent?
I mean, he's a first-round pick playing his first year.
So they're playing him on the fourth line? That doesn't make any
Marner's
sense.
the second-year player on the fourth line. Sorry, I've just clicked on the Bruins Hockey DB page. Okay,
can I just get through the lineup
here?
Yes,
sure.
That'd be super cool if I can just. So Jake DeBrusk on left wing, Jordan Schwartz, and Frank Vetrano. And then you've got Chara, McAvoy, Krug, Carlo, O'Gara, and Miller. I've never heard of I've never seen O'Gara play. And then
I'm looking. Okay, Bjork is off to a decent start. 8 points in 14 games. Danton Heinen, 7 points in 10 games. That's pretty good. And then Schaller, 6 and 14. DeBrusk, 6 and 14. And then the other guys, I think they're guys who just got called up. Are any of these guys even highly touted? No. O'Gara's a 5th round pick from 2011. Man, how many people are hurt on the Bruins?
It's bad. It's bad.
That is absolutely... Well,
So-
Krejci's got to be out.
Backus
Marchand is out. Oh, Backus is out.
And thankfully doing okay.
That's why... Okay, so Jonas Siegel made the argument for keeping Matthews out for both Boston games. And I think he's right.
I think he's too.
Am I dumb? I think he's right.
So what I've read on Twitter, just like in the last 20 minutes, is that they Mike Babcock had a press conference and they asked him about Matthews, and he said, "Listen, it's not a serious injury, but it needs to be fixed." So
you know who looked like the perpetrator? Brendan Leipzig. Flinter had a slash, and it looked like it might have been slashed to the forearm.
Okay, if Matthews sits both of these games, but gets better, I think that's better in the long run, especially if it is, as you say, a wrist injury.
Well, like
Or an arm
maybe
injury.
when they say sore, like maybe he just like it's
Bad
an
bruise.
owie. You know? Yeah, you're tense. It's not anything serious, but you're tense. It's not a bone
But
break.
you saw him at the bench in the Vegas game. He was like his head was down, and he looked like he was in some serious pain.
I mean, he was also trying his ass off.
Yeah.
Like he was really trying to will the Leafs to a win there. But I'm looking at Boston on paper here. They're back end too, but especially up front. The Leafs are better on paper without Matthews than this Boston lineup. That's ridiculous. Staple Qadri to Bergeron, and then from there on, you're fine. Like from there on,
Marleau
the Leafs
has to play center
completely
again, though.
overwhelm this
You
lineup.
got to have Marleau at center.
Yes, of course. While Matthews is out, you need Marleau at center. There's no excuse that they can't compete with this team. I'm not saying they're going to win both. Might even lose both, but I'm just saying what's better in the long run. You're going up against a completely mangled team. Their second line center's a rumor. I've never heard of that person.
I have to say also, it's unacceptable if they lost both games. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, no, I think you're
They
right.
have to win both games.
I'm trying to find... Okay, Curler. He got...
And even
4
Boston fans would
points
be
in
like, you need
14
to beat
games.
us.
4 points in 14 games. Who is this person? 5th round pick, 2011. They have a lot of 2011 5th round picks, the Boston Bruins. No, sit Matthews both games, and then they have 4 days off. Rest him 9 days. Beautiful.
I was invited on to a college radio show, the Bleachers podcast, and they're really they're on WQAQ in Boston, which is it's a university radio station. And these guys were really good. I was really blown away. A guy named Dan invited me on, and he had his co-host Connor there. And
You ever heard of Dan?
They were talking about.
I've heard of Dan.
They were talking about. They asked me about the Leafs, right? They asked me a bunch of questions about the Leafs. And then I said, well, you guys have had it pretty good in Boston. And they were like, no, the fuck, we have not. And I said, well, what? And I had to stop them. And I said, guys. Whoa. Have you won a Stanley Cup this decade?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you mean that? I'm like, yeah, that. And maybe you went to the finals again 2 years later and almost won that too? Yeah, see? That's what's called you've had it pretty good. And you know, they're
In terms of this season.
not, yeah. Oh, it's been a rough 20 games. Boo for you.
Rough 20 games.
Like,
So
I'm
funny when
sorry,
you put it
but
that way.
and they got it right. They totally understood it. What was funny is that they know, Boston fans know, kind of like we did, that they're making some really bad moves.
Well,
They think the Backus deal is a real anchor. They didn't even want to bring up Bolesky. They didn't even bring him up as like, everybody just assumes that contract's a write-off.
Backus at least has been good. Just
Is a
not
good
worth
player.
the money.
No,
Yeah.
it's not that Backus isn't a good player for sure. But I think Boston's headed for a retool, and they were upset that Chara wasn't traded 2 years ago.
They're in the middle of it. They need to trade him at the deadline for way too much.
I don't know that you're going to get way too much anymore for him.
Yeah, you will. You're a team
the
heading
trade
into the
deadline?
The
playoffs.
New York Rangers.
If
They always pay
if
too
they were
much.
to get into a position, but imagine Chara as like your third pairing
Well, and
defenseman.
that's what I said. That's exactly what I said to him. I'm like, you've talked about Chara to the Leafs many times, which
I want it. I think it's funny.
if he wasn't their top line defenseman and you could shelter his minutes, still a pretty effective guy.
Yes.
Like he's like Martin Marincin, but really good. You know what I mean? Like
With a bomb. With a bomb.
Your offensive zone entries with Zdeno Chara are difficult.
He can't fit in the lineup, though.
He is a left-handed shot, is he not?
You figure it out. That's Zdeno Chara.
But he's a left-handed shot.
Oh, sorry.
Andreas
sorry, Zdeno. This Borgman kid is pretty good.
Oh, have you won a cup? Fuck your cup.
Yeah, I don't think it works. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, but what about that time you lost the hardest shot to Weber?
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if that
And Weber's
happened.
worth PK Subban, so there.
Exactly.
He's going to retire at the end of the season, I assume, right? His contract's up. He's 40.
I've heard no.
No?
I've heard no.
I think he could still be effective in a third pairing role.
Just old.
If you can get him for $3 million. I don't think
Put
you
him
can.
on your power play.
Yeah.
Put him on your power play and use him however you want, like the Bruins have. Do we want to use the hardest shot at the league at the blue line or put a giraffe in front of the net in the blue paint? That's how they tied up friggin' Game 7. Is they're like, all right, bomb from the point. All right, now we need the net giraffe to block out the sun from James Reimer. James Reimer couldn't
His
even
sticks
see
will
what
blot
city,
out the sun.
He couldn't even see what city he was in with Chara standing in front of him, piece of crap. God, I want him on my team.
So does it happen in March? Do we trade
I don't
for
think the
him?
Leafs get him. No, they wouldn't trade him to a division guy. No, like unless like if
have
Boston's
to
going
pay
to the
way too much.
finals, or if Boston going to the playoffs, definitely not. But if they're not, they're selling him to the West.
There are some really, really interesting teams when it comes to buying and selling.
You know who I think gets him? Just a total shot in the dark. Chicago. He seems like a total fit for Chicago.
No!
Chicago goes and gets him. I bet it. I just
Damn
bet
it.
I put money
Adam's
on.
right. Adam is absolutely. I'm not looking at
Stan
you for
Bowman's
the rest
not.
of the show.
Stan Bowman
I'm
is
mad at you.
not a dummy.
I'm mad at you for how right you are.
It's Stan Bowman.
I'm ignoring
He's
you
gonna
for the
do
rest
it.
of the show.
So Nikita Soshnikov, and this was kind of came out Tuesday right after our show.
Yes.
He's got an out. If he's not called up by Tuesday next week, he can leave for the KHL.
I saw that.
So Eric Prime is taking pictures of us, so we had to pause. What does that mean? Do they call him up?
Yeah, so this was the thing I was trying to figure out that was confusing. In order to honor that clause in his contract, is all they have to do call him up and then send him back down?
I think
Because
so.
if that's the case, who cares? It's basically a paper transaction.
Yeah.
Gives a shit. Something about
But what if he has to take the bus all the way over from the reef?
from Peoria.
Well, from Rico to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, traffic's about an hour.
Yeah.
It might be a kilometer walk and take you 10 minutes. However, it's an hour in
Oh
a
my
car.
God! Anything west of Yonge can kick rocks.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jesse.
My,
Getting around
Caprice,
the city.
my fiance Caprice was saying the other day, she's like, I really like the West End. I'm like, nope,
Nope.
not moving there. Goodbye.
The West End is great if you don't own a car or don't have to go anywhere.
If you want to walk everywhere, West is it's amazing. It's a great place to visit.
Yeah.
Park your car, leave it there the whole day.
We have a buddy who's a plumber, and he was living in Whitby and commuted downtown to his job in the West End. He has since moved to the West End, not all that far from his job site. The inner city traffic to get to his job site, he's basically only cut his commute by about 15 minutes.
That's so crazy.
Whitby is 4 suburbs outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Not suburbs.
That's insane.
It's 2 cities over.
Yeah, cities.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. Sorry, where were we going?
Soshnikov.
Right.
We were talking about the bus ride from Rico to the Air Canada Centre.
Peoria.
Peoria.
Why not dislike him that much that they're just going to hold on to him? Like, that seems like the kind of guy where if teams are calling and they offer you something decent, take it. Take it. He might bolt anyway, and there's teams around the league that could absolutely use a guy like Soshnikov.
I don't know, Boston?
Dude, Edmonton.
Edmonton would be great for
The
him.
Leafs could solve so many of Edmonton's problems. And that is the sort of trade, like we talked about, like Levo or something like that, and all this Marner for Nurse insanity. No, something really small. A guy who has played on the power play, regularly kills penalties, and is fast.
And kind of nasty, too.
Soshnikov, and kind of a prick. You want team speed? There's your team speed. And what do the Leafs get in return?
Clef bomb.
Clef bomb. A pick. I'm happy with a pick. The Marlies need Sosh that bad?
No. I mean, Jeremy Bracco was barely getting playing time. Like, they need to, they have a glut. And you know that they're really high on Carl Grundstrom, who's in Sweden, and Andreas Johnson, who's still here. So, I feel like those guys might jump him anyway in the organizational depth just based on the role he plays.
What has to happen to the Leafs where we go, oh shit, we need Sosh right now? What has to happen? How many guys have to get hurt? How many penalty killers have to get hurt? Like both of Hyman and Brown need to get injured. Because you're going to call up Kapanen first. You already got Gauthier, but he's at center. You know what? I don't know. I just convinced myself. Only 2 injuries. maybe you got to keep Sosh. Maybe you got to keep him. I don't know. But if you...
Well, knowing the Leafs, they will.
You should entertain offers. You should definitely entertain offers.
So, I had a question about him, and I've forgotten it.
Sosh?
I think so.
His clause and going to the KHL?
No.
His agent said that he wants to stay in the NHL.
Of course he does.
So, I don't know. I don't think this is a terribly big deal. I think this was just pure LeBron alerting us to something that we didn't know.
It's a pretty interesting clause, I would say. I don't know. I mean, he would, of course, have the opportunity to leave the KHL, so why not throw it in? I know what I was going to ask. You brought up Toronto and Edmonton, and Nick Kypreos really took it on the chin on Hockey Central on Tuesday when he suggested that a Mitch Marner type would sure look good on the Oilers, which he's right.
Which is accurate so far.
Yeah.
Accurate.
And then somebody on Twitter said, hey, if that were to happen, what would be the price coming back? And he said, I believe Darnell Nurse. And I think what he meant by that is Darnell Nurse plus.
Well, okay. So let's back up. So everyone out there who's listening who said Kypreos started the Marner to Nurse rumors, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's not a rumor. That's not a rumor. If someone asks you how much a box of cereal costs, and you tell them, I don't know, it probably costs you like $4.
That's
just your opinion
Yeah.
on how much you think a box of cereal costs. Marner's a box of cereal in this scenario. You know, players and transactions, it's a business and all of that. So he was merely saying if that trade, which is a total fantasy right now, were to happen, the price would be something along the lines of Darnell Nurse. Oh, Kypreos hot take us through everything I've been seeing. He didn't start anything. He didn't start. How is okay? Here's how I know your hatred is misguided. Kypreos did start the Habs might have to trade Carey Price train,
which I love.
He did start that. But as for he started these Marner for Nurse rumors, no.
Who's more likely to get traded?
Marner or Nurse?
Or Carey Price?
Marner or Carey Price? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, Mitch Marner, of course.
I think Carey Price.
I think Carey Price.
Yeah. I think Montreal could look at a rebuild.
Before that contract.
I know they've won 3 in a row, but
time really is a flat circle. Like Charlie Lindgren is now Yaroslav Halak. And we're talking about him stealing Price's job and we're trading Price.
I don't think that's
I think if you're going to rebuild.
I think some people are.
I think if you're going to rebuild, you try to get the Rasmus Dahlin pick as quickly as possible. Like, you know, start
that rebuild.
Figure out who needs a goalie.
Something needs to happen before Carey Price gets traded. If Carey Price does, in fact, get traded.
Let's say he gets left in for 8 goals and he's calling to the bench and no one's pulling him.
I'm done here. I'm done.
And then he gets traded.
So he says, I'm done here.
Mm-hmm.
Before you can trade Carey Price, you have to fire Marc Bergevin. Mm-hmm. Have to. You have no option, or you're an incompetent bum of an owner.
And pay him for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, because
you signed him to that.
He did this, he did that, he did that. Now the team isn't doing well. Gives Carey Price $100 million, and then, he gives him $100 million of your money, Dick. $100 million. And then he went, nope.
I don't know.
They're not going to trade him.
They'll
never trade him.
No,
they won't.
I'm just
like the Leafs won't trade Marner.
Somebody gave Montreal Canadiens
a large contract. I think Jeff Molson gave him that money. I don't think Marc Bergevin gave PK that money.
Say that one more time.
I think Jeff Molson gave PK Subban that contract. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think Bergevin gave him that money.
You're correct. I thought you were saying Carey Price.
Oh, no. No.
No, Carey Price's resume gave Carey Price that contract.
Listen, I think he's worth it. I just think that Montreal, if they were to rebuild,
what a
have to
strange
trade him.
team. What a strange team.
But I don't think they're going to rebuild. So I wanted to ask about that because here's the thing. What Kipper has been bringing up is the fact that
straight fire.
He's not been...
he is having a week or two.
Yeah, he's been talking about Marner in terms of organizational depth. Now, is Mitch Marner a elite skilled player? I would think so. I think he's a greatly skilled young player.
He's gonna be. Like, not every player is incredible their second year in the league.
Is it possible that he's just having a rough go and then he'll just find his form and that's good and that's it? Because I can tell you, the way he was scoring last year, there's not a chance in hell I would have ever wanted to trade him. And I think I would be upset. I would be very upset.
There's so much potential there still. And when you look at the smoldering ruin that is that line of JVR, Bozak, and Marner, Marner looks the best.
Yeah, keep Marner. Trade the other two.
JVR is so good at batting pucks in. Damn.
He sure bats a lot of pucks in.
Put him on a line where that's all he's got to do, and he'll bag you 30 goals, no problem. JVR can do a real good David Clarkson impression. A David Clarkson
sustained over 5 years
with the Devils.
Yeah, when he was playing with Kovalchuk.
JVR is a more skilled version of what everyone thought Clarkson was.
Good point.
You know?
Yeah.
No, it's not time to give up on Mitch Marner. The only thing about this that may be good news is all these rumors about, Matthews is going to get 10 or something, and Nylander is going to get 7 or something, and so is Marner. No. No. You're going to give Mitch Marner $7 million after what you've seen so far?
No.
That negotiation is going to be torture. I know it. I wouldn't be surprised to see him set at the beginning of next season.
His contract's up this season?
Oh, wait, you're right.
No, it's Nylander.
Sorry. He's got 2. It's Nylander, you're right.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting thought, but I don't think the Leafs are going to make a big deal this year. I just don't see it. Unless...
I think they will. I just don't think it'll involve Mitch Marner.
You think they'll make a big deal?
What's a big deal? Is JVR a big deal?
Yes. Yeah.
Is Bozak a big deal?
You think they'll make those moves?
Yeah.
Maybe. He's a medium to big deal.
The Leafs have said repeatedly, okay, you guys have made excellent arguments that JVR and Bozak are like buys. You might as well hold on to them.
Okay.
But if they're really sticking to the plan like they claim to be, you can't just let guys like that walk. Look what Duchesne just got. If you have an opportunity to get half of that for JVR,
or just the defenseman that you need.
Yes.
I'm telling you, Carolina would be perfect.
Look at what. Look at what.
So great.
Who is it? The Ducks? Who? No, the Ducks.
Well, the Ducks could use them.
Was it the Coyotes who traded Vermette? If you can get half of what you got for Vermette, or what they got for Vermette for Bozak, and you're sticking to a plan as a rebuilding team, shouldn't you do it? I'm just saying. Well, then who takes the spot? Well, that's where you got me. I'm interested to see what they do.
They are kind of thin at center.
I am interested to see what they do.
Has the window to win changed at all? Because when expectations were so high coming into the season, everyone was like, all right, we need to win in the next 2-3 years. Is that still the same?
First off, I think that was insane and ridiculous. It would be great to win in the next 2 to 3 years, but to say that you've got to is insane.
Well, I just think it's funny that people were talking about the Leafs window like it expires when Austin Matthews is 21.
Yeah, and that's how people were talking. You're like, oh, okay.
Their window to win is the next 12 years.
But should you push in this next 3 years where you go and
if you have an opportunity to?
Yeah.
I think teams know what they have by like mid-January, which is why the trade deadline is when it is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I can't wait for another trade deadline to pass with no trades. It's going to be great.
Pittsburgh 2 years ago was out of a playoff spot in mid-December.
Fired
their coach.
And then
won the cup.
Starting in January, they're the best team in the league.
And they're back-to-back cup champs since. Yeah. So you don't know what you have until you're shoveling your driveway. You know, we're not quite there yet. We're just starting to see our breath.
Okay.
I think the Leafs, I mean, on paper, I look at it and I go, there's a chance to make some real noise here. Next year, oh boy. They haven't quite shown it on the ice yet. And I can't imagine them letting all three walk. Something's up. Something's strange.
I think they signed Komarov and JVR and Bozak are gone.
No, I think you get rid of all three.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Carl Grundstrom could come in and even if he is 80% in his first season what Komarov is, at 30% of the salary, that's a good trade-off.
Money thing.
We're doing what we did all summer, which is we're going, what's going on here? What are the Leafs going to be? Let's talk about the Marlies for half an hour. Half an hour, some of you were saying. Yeah, right. An hour and a half. Let's talk about Leipzig. Let's do 45 minutes waxing poetically about Leipzig, and then he gets taken by Vegas.
I don't think we waxed poetic about Leipzig that much.
I did.
I remember
and you
just
humored me.
He was like, okay. No, he's great. He's a good player.
How dare you?
A good player?
He's a good player. But I mean, like, where would Brandon Leipzig be in the Leafs depth chart had he stayed?
I know.
Exactly.
But if someone gets injured,
and then they only have 14 other guys that could come up. It's crazy.
But what if 13 guys get injured?
You know what? Could happen. New York Rangers have won 5 games in a row, gentlemen. 5.
The Cat came back the very next day.
They have jumped from near last in the conference to 8th. That's amazing.
Wow. Proving our point.
Proving your theory.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you know that they're only 8 points out of first in the conference?
That's 4 wins.
It's a week of games.
A week of games. Yep. And Tampa would have to lose a lot, which I don't think is going to happen. Tampa's record, by the way, right now is 12-2-2.
Oh, piss off.
They're reverse Coyotes.
Even when Kucherov and Stamkos don't score, Nemestikov does. It's crazy.
Oh, I mean, we talk about the Leafs on paper, which hasn't really been applied as of late, but Tampa on paper is so much better. So much better.
Yeah.
No, if they lose the cup this year, if they don't win the cup this year, it'll be their fault. How are they?
That's aggressive.
Who's better? Who's even in the same... Who's on the same planet? Who's on the same planet?
Mid-November.
I don't know.
I'm going to make a declaration that if this one team doesn't win the cup, it's a disappointment.
Who's even close?
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
29 other
Absolutely
teams because it's mid-November.
Nope.
29 because Arizona doesn't count.
Oh, that's so disrespectful. No, I mean,
I don't know if the 8th place Colorado Avalanche go on a run.
Which I think their odds might have just decreased.
Maybe just a little. But they got Samuel Girard, so you never know.
Never know.
Right?
If Washington doesn't win this year, it's a disappointment.
No, that was last year.
Don't be difficult. Don't be difficult.
Don't
get enough of this at home, Jesse.
Don't say ridiculous things.
Hey, you know who's...
I'm having calamari and rosé night by myself.
You fine.
That sounds like an amazing night. Can we please actually do that?
Yeah, Jesse and I are definitely
No,
doing that.
get out of here. I'm coming.
You're not hungry, though.
I'm not hungry right now.
Yeah, are you going to eat before you come?
Washington Capitals.
I'm going to eat Panago.
Okay, the 4 of us are going to enjoy ourselves. Me, Jesse, and the dogs.
Oh,
the carpets?
The 6 of us. Steve, Jesse, the 2 dogs, and 2 pizzas.
8 of us, the birds.
The birds.
Okay.
Yeah. The birds get some calamari. Birds like calamari.
All right. Let's move on, guys. Come on.
That kind of makes sense.
Can we throw this out there?
Fact.
Vancouver. Or as I like to call them, Cancouver.
What?
They're 8-5-2. So they're
upset.
Cancouver.
I'm so upset.
Vancouver is sitting 13th in the NHL right now with 50.7% Corsi, like their possession.
Wow.
That's up from 47.9 last year. And it's all in just kind of the way they changed playing the game. Travis Green, man.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
They've added a couple players for sure, but a new coach will really kick you in the ass. It helps that Markstrom looks like a starter, too.
Also,
that helps. That was a question mark.
Who is 3rd in the Western Conference right now? The record is 8-3-3.
I saw the standings early.
I was going to say Vegas, but it couldn't be. Because I think Vegas has 9 wins. 3rd in the West.
Actually, these guys are ahead of Vegas. Vegas
is it San Jose?
It's the Winnipeg Jets.
Wow. Now, here's why that doesn't surprise me. Mrs. Dangle is finally leading her hockey pool. And Blake Wheeler is her top guy.
Oh my God, she got some good players. You advised well, I think. Here's what I find interesting about this. Yeah. The only thing, now in Winnipeg, I'm sure it's a different story, but nationally, what you hear out of Winnipeg is, well, Patrick Laine is not lighting it up like he did last year, and that's a problem. Winnipeg is 8-3-3. This is great.
Bufflin fought Ben.
Yes.
You know what? No, you're 100% right. I would have never guessed in a million years they're 8-3.
And here's what's even more interesting, and this is from Emily Sadler at Sportsnet.ca, who was writing them.
Oh yeah,
Steve Mason, the guy they brought in to be their legit number one goaltender, who Kevin Cheveldayoff said he's a number one goaltender, proven. Do you want to know what his record is?
No.
You don't?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I think you do.
I'm going to go with it's 1-3-1.
Mm-hmm. Close. 3-1.
Ooh.
Do you want to hear his goals against average, which I know is like a weird stat?
Sure.
4.84.
Good.
Would you like to hear his save percentage?
That's bad in the 80s. Yes.
8.72. On the other end, you've got Connor Hellebuck.
A hell of a goalie.
Hella beauty, you might even say.
You might say he's bang for his Hellebuck.
When his extension comes up, he'll make hella bucks.
Oh!
We've said that before. 24 years old, has not lost.
When he's in net, they say hallelujah.
No.
Hallelujah, puck.
24 years old, has not lost in regulation through 11 games this year. He's 0-8-2.
8-0-2.
Sorry, 8-0-2, sorry. 2.12 goals against average, 936 save percentage, third best in the category league.
Wow.
Wide. How crazy is that?
You know what's crazier? Mason is signed to 2 years.
Well,
who cares?
What is Mark Scheifele's shooting percentage? He has 9 goals, and he's tied for 6th for the league.
I want to know the answer.
tied with Qadri for 6th of the league. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say 18%.
30.
32.
Wow! All right, so that's going to slow down.
That's dumb.
Wow. You know what, though? He's going to go down. Laine is going to come up.
How much is let's go through Patrick Laine's numbers a little bit. I want to know what his shooting percentage is. Can we just
mackerel.
And let me just throw this out there. Patrick Laine's beard, not great.
Oh my God.
It's not great.
Who is advising him on that?
Yeah.
I want to
listen, I'm almost 30, haven't grown a beard yet. The reason why? It's still patchy.
Yeah, I want to lie down on the floor with him and interview him about that weird beard.
It is a weird beard. And it's all neck, right? I think he shaves the face and then it's the neck beard.
It's not even neck. And you couldn't even call it like chin whiskers. It's not quite the chin, not quite the neck. Whatever
it's your
that
chiskers.
is.
Your chin was chiskers. No. Yeah, I don't know. Jesse, what do we got here? How many goals?
Last year's runner-up to the Calder Trophy has 7 goals and 2 assists.
Oh, why is everyone telling me he sucks? 7 goals is fine. 2 assists is lacking.
3 are only in even strength. So,
so what?
That's almost 50% of his goals at even strength.
That line
that's not that great.
Assuming that's a line, the Scheifele line, a Wheeler line, is still one of the best in hockey.
Yeah.
Even if it's just out on the power play.
Give them another 5 games.
His
we'll see where that's
time
at.
on ice is down. Last year was 17:55. This year, 17:07.
That might be because of the amount of penalties,
More
too.
like
Because he's not playing shorthanded.
Piece of garbage.
And the shooting percentage, last year, 17.6.
Seems about right for a sniper. That's for a sniper, though.
And that was over 73
even that
games.
is insane.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, my God.
What's Sidney Crosby's? Is 16?
Yeah, but like that is alien and like the best. Like even the class of the league's best shooters.
The class?
Class are still in the 14-ish range.
Okay.
Except for like Ovechkin.
Crosby.
Sits consistently at like 70.
Okay. Line
And takes some more shots.
What's his shooting percentage this year?
16.3.
Oh.
What is this rumor of him? Now, he's picked it up this week. I think he's got a few points this week, so maybe it's that. You know what, though? I'm going to say, you know, that whole Eastern bias thing, that might actually apply to the Jets here.
I think so.
Because I had no idea.
What's hilarious...
I knew Hellebuck was good.
Emily Sadler's article is all about Winnipeg and the goaltending and whatever. What I find funny is that the title of it is, and I know Sportsnet really takes it and makes up the thing, but one of the quotes in the article became the headline, which is that they think that a goaltender's duel is healthy. And this is not a goaltender's duel. This is a Connor Hellebuck's the starter and Steve Mason is not.
This is a stop. He's already dead.
Yeah, like this is not a duel. This is Connor Hellebuck's the goalie you go with.
Yes.
Now, the other interesting thing is that, like, Winnipeg with a struggling starting goaltender and a struggling top-scoring winger is third in the conference with 8-3-3. We said this last year. If they could just get goaltending, that's a dominant NHL team.
Can you go look at here? I'll bring it up. I'm here. I have a computer as well. I want to look at the Jets' beginning of the season because they might even be better than their record suggests. Because they obviously lost 7-2 in their first game. But didn't they lose like their first 3 or something like that? It is loading. And
it's like when you look at Pittsburgh's
really
goal differential right now.
Oh, but it's 65-45.
It's
insane.
But they're sitting first in the Metro.
They're 8-3-3.
Oh, sorry, 45-59. My bad.
Yeah, it's like minus 19 or something.
8-3-3. You said
Who is
the Jets?
Sure.
Right. They lost their first 2 games in regulation by a combined score of 13-5.
And they're 8.
And that's
which means since their first 2 games, they're 8-1-3.
And they've only started Steve Mason
crazy.
twice since their first 2 games.
Holy moly. That's a good team.
hot.
5-2 win,
That is a good
4-2
team.
win, 2-1 win, 5-2 loss. 4-3 win, lost in overtime to Pittsburgh, lost in overtime to Columbus, murdered Pittsburgh's existence 7-1, beat Minnesota 2-1.
I believe that was one of the Niemi starts, wasn't it?
Probably. Oh, no, yes, 100% it was on the second half
What
of the
are you
back-to-back as
doing?
well.
Putting Antti Niemi in
On the second half of a back-to-back?
against the Jets. Are you nuts?
Yeah, who would ever do that? Oh, never mind that McElhaney game against the Kings. Never mind. Never happened. Destroyed the Dallas Stars. Lost in overtime to Montreal. Destroyed the Dallas Stars again. And now they go on a desert road trip where
Vegas and
they play
Arizona.
Vegas and then Arizona 2 straight games. So they play fourth stringer with Vegas, league's worst team twice in a row. Wow.
The Coyotes,
Wow.
I would love to know where the Colorado Avalanche were at game 14 or 15 or wherever Coyotes are at 17 games, so they're one of the higher games played
The
this
Avs
year.
were at like 500 this time last year. It wasn't until Varlamov went down that they really, really tanked.
We could be looking at another historically bad team this year.
Never know. Never know. I mean,
It's certainly one of the worst starts ever.
Oh, for sure. It's like when the Leafs were 0-7-1. Oh, this could be. Well, it rarely ever ends up being that way. What was astonishing about Colorado is, wow, they're just kind of staying this way. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's true. They're not as bad, right?
They're
bad, but not as bad.
This year, they're not as bad.
So do you think they're playing the game? Duchesne makes his return to Colorado and Sweden, which is weird, and it kind of sucks, eh? Like you got to think if you're the NHL, you went, oh, that's the game. It's Colorado, Ottawa in Sweden after we make the trade.
The whole reason you're playing regular season games in Sweden is to promote the game.
Yeah.
So I think they're going hooray.
Well, fair enough. So, obviously Ottawa's over there. Do you see this as being like a trend? Like maybe next year they play in Finland or they go to Arizona. Like how cool would it be to see an NHL game in Arizona? Like, do you think that would be cool?
You're a dick.
Like what if Austin Matthews went and actually played in his home state of Arizona and they saw real professional hocky?
Wow.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be very neat.
I think it'd be cool.
Hey, Austin Matthews' parents were at the game yesterday. Good for them.
They come to a lot of them, I think.
Yeah, when he's playing. He wasn't playing in this one.
I think they're Leaf fans now.
They probably
know.
just had tickets, Steve.
Of course
be
they
like,
just
"Hey."
had tickets. No, but how often... I'm trying to think of a time where I've ever seen, and so-and-so's parents are here to watch him not play.
I think that's nice.
How many times are you paying attention to the parents at the game?
I don't know. Well, they always just show them, and I'm always like, I'd reach towards the television. I'm like, you guys are the best. Thank
They
you
are
for
one.
Austin.
They seem so great.
Thank you for... Well, and they always look the same. The mom with
Concerned.
nervous anticipation, and the dad just ready to choke anyone who comes near his son. Don't ever talk to me or my son ever again.
Question.
Yes.
If you're Austin Matthews, okay, you are Austin Matthews. You both are Austin Matthews.
Oh, I'm the best.
And you're a great hockey player. You're
Yes.
20 years old though. And when you moved to Switzerland,
Oh, I'm going to have 2 dinners.
your mom and your sister moved with you because they obviously want to take care of you a little bit. Also, it's kind of a cool thing to live in Switzerland for a year. Like, how sick is that?
Yeah. Oh, honey, I really
Oh,
think
you're
I
going to
need
go make $1 million.
with him.
He made $1 million in Switzerland When most of us were graduating high school.
He made a bunch of money.
And then, and also his mom and sister went with him. That's kind of cool, right?
A little bit.
Now, you're 20 years old. It's a couple years later. Your parents, I think his parents are either living here some of the time or most of the time.
They would have to be. They're at almost every home game.
If you're Austin Matthews, do you live with your parents or not? I don't know whether he does or not.
Who does he live with?
I don't know.
It's like Crosby with Lemieux.
I don't know if we'll ever know that, but I could tell you, I mean, I moved out at 19. There'd be no way in hell I'd be living with my parents at that age because it would be just way too much fun not to.
He might like it.
He might like it. And my parents, to be honest, if they were on the show with me right now, like we drove each other crazy. So it just would not have worked.
I like how boring today's hockey players are. I'm not talking about in interviews like they've always been. I don't remember if we were talking about it with Ken Reed or Dennis Marouk or whatever, but I was talking to someone, like, you heard all these crazy stories about players going out and clubbing and drinking the night before the game, and, oh, that was a crazy one last night, boys. All right, let's beat these guys, and doing friggin' lines of coke off the bar. Today's players just stay home and play video games. Just kind of live quiet lives.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, that's
listen,
true.
Man, I don't want to find out.
Quick, get the shot of me playing Call of Duty. All right, let's roll.
Yeah, but if you're out of the club now, people know, and pictures get circulated.
Oh, like some players are really dumb about it. Like we've been out, and I've been like, oh, there's so and so who
with a trail of people following them.
Yeah, who really shouldn't be here. It's one thing if your team's out of the playoffs.
I don't want to see my team lose because I know they were hungover. You know what I mean? Save the drinking for games that you're not playing.
I don't think you've ever heard of Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
Babe
who'd eat like 2 steaks before a game and then go hit a dinger and then get hammered afterwards. Babe Ruth's diet is insane. Yeah, he might have been hammered before too. Now I want to throw something.
Hits the ball because he thought it was some guy who talked smack about him. You throw me that son of a bitch right here, and he just cracks it.
So here's
over the tiny brick wall that they used to have.
Here's a fun story.
Bunch of people wearing suits. Yes.
A Russian hockey player playing in Russia actually tested positive for something, and they penalized him for it.
They have to do that, so they think that it's actual legit. No, it's literally. It was literally in the documents from Sochi. They had some of the participants on the Russian Olympic team get caught, even though they thought they were being protected under their giant doping program.
Because they wanted to make it seem like some
people were getting caught. And they sacrificed the guys who had been there a long time, they knew weren't going to win gold medals, but will still qualify.
We got him!
Yeah, but it was like these people were being turned on by their government because they were like, okay, I'm in this weird doping program with Putin, who's the overseer of the whole thing. And they're like, I can take these steroids and not get caught. But then the overlords would be like, hey, we got to sacrifice somebody, and they'd pick these guys out of it.
Interesting that you say that.
That guy might be one of them.
Because the guy's name is...
I listened to a podcast on this.
The guy's name is Denis Zaripov.
Denis Zaripov.
And the Blues are going to sign him because the substance that he tested positive for the KHL is not banned in the NHL. And it is called pseudoephedrine. Pseudoephedrine. So pseudoephedrine is a stimulant.
Oh, Sudafed.
But is well known for shrinking swollen nasal mucus membranes. Also used as a decongestant. It reduces tissue. Edema, nasal congestion, commonly associated with colds or allergies.
That's why Nicholas Backstrom wasn't allowed to play in the Sochi gold medal game because he had Sudafed.
So Zaripov will sign with the Blues. Apparently, he's. Interestingly, Jesse, you mentioned something about age, 36 years old. And I think he played for Akbars Kazan for 12 years and then Metalurg Magnitogorsk this year until he was suspended, and now he's out.
I believe he's a KHL champion.
So now he'll be joining the Blues, who are already first place in the Western Conference, and now he's going to join them.
Is that the dude's name in Aladdin? Akbar?
Jafar?
Jafar.
You got the R.
Okay.
Close.
I just find that interesting that a Russian hockey player was caught using a substance they shouldn't, and the NHL allows it. Usually it would be the other way around. It would be like, oh, you test positive in NHL, come play for us.
So there was some shenanigans a few years ago, and that's what this reminds me of. This is a Puck Daddy article from way back in the day when Greg Wyshynski used to write for them. April 24th, 2012, and I remember this from when I was doing KHL videos with Andrei Osachenko. Failed drug test in KHL leads to Anton Belov's suspension from Gagarin Cup final. When we point out the differences between the NHL and the KHL, it's usually to goof on their goaltending or celebrate their goonery. But here's another rather important distinction between the two. KHL players are tested for banned substances during the playoffs, while the current NHL policy doesn't allow it. Avangard Omsk defenseman Anton Belov, who after this went on to play for the Edmonton Oilers, learned that difference the hard way in the 2012 Gagarin Cup finals. From Russia Today, Belov was suspended for a banned substance. Russian Deputy Sports Minister Yuri, Russian name, told RIA Novosti on Sunday that the 25-year-old tested positive after the fourth match of the Gagarin Cup finals against Dynamo Moscow on, by the way, this was the semifinal. This was incorrect. He missed the fifth game on Saturday, snatched by Dynamo 3-2 to cut the deficit in the series. We had the information that the A test was positive already on Friday, said Russian name. Belov has a chance to be justified if the B tests prove otherwise. Any sanctions, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the whole thing about this that I remember Andre telling me is it might have been a little bit of shenaniganery.
No.
On account of team is winning in the playoffs, best defenseman all of a sudden fails a drug test.
Did somebody put some money on it or what?
Well, okay. All I know is Avangard Omsk was up 3-1 in the semifinal or conference final, whatever it was, the round before the final. They lose both games. Belov is out. Game 7, Dynamo Moscow wins. They go to the Gagarin Cup final. They beat Traktor Chelyabinsk and win. I'm just saying. It's a very fortunate drug test if you're Dynamo Moscow. Ooh, that's for sure.
That's timing.
Now, I don't know. I mean, it could be a completely different scenario as Zaripov. But.
So, and I want to throw this out there. You know, so we make fun of the KHL. We make fun of the NHL for being
Sure.
Let's talk about the fact that Jerry Jones wants to sue the NFL if they bring back the commissioner. Have you heard this story?
What?
Owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Sports let us like them.
My favorite line in South Park is like, and what is it? Just because Jerry Jones
broke the rules.
No, it's the
you broke the rules. How you found out how we broke the rules.
No, it's the and Jerry Jones's eyes are too far apart. That thing where they
are too far apart.
So I guess Jerry Jones is really mad about how Roger Goodell has handled the Ezekiel Elliott situation this year. So
can you refresh me,
Jesse? Can you give Steve the?
Was this the guy who played every game drunk?
No, that's Josh Gordon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott. There was an investigation into something he did during college. And then there was a bunch of allegations. And then the police.
Was it domestic abuse?
Yes. And then the police discovered that there was enough to charge him, so they left the issue. And then the NFL did their own internal investigation, said they have enough evidence to suspend him for 6 games, I believe. So
he wasn't charged, but the NFL is like, well, we have enough evidence to suspend him.
We through our own investigation, we have enough evidence to charge him. So they suspended him for 6 games to start the year. And then he's like, no, I'm taking this to court because I wasn't charged. You don't have enough evidence. So he took it to court. The judge repealed the suspension, so he got to start the season. And then the NFL took it to the next level of court, and then that court reinstated his suspension. But this was like week 3, I believe. So he had played 3 games, and then it was in between week 3, and then in between week 3 and like the next game, he went to the next level of court and got his suspension repealed again.
Today I learned court is a video game.
America is the most litigious society, I think, in the history of man.
Yeah, and then now we're at week 9. They went back and forth one more time, and now the suspension's still off. And then he's played every single game, but the suspension's still there, and they have to go one more level of court to find out who actually wins this suspension.
Did I tell you the Florida...
What's the point of any of the other levels of court?
Like, what was the point
why
of
do this?
Really?
Why? Like, what are we doing?
This court said you broke the rules.
I went back and
this other court said we didn't break the rules.
I went back and watched that episode, by the way. It is so good even now. You cheated. No, you're cheating now. Well, everybody cheats. It's the Tom Brady episode. It's so great.
Would Tom Brady give up? No. He'd argue that he didn't cheat.
And then he'd argue that everybody else cheated to distract everyone.
Did I ever talk about the Florida jury selection thing that I heard?
No.
Okay, so basically it was a case in Florida.
Of course. I'm sure it was crazy too.
An injury related to a work vehicle. So they're doing the jury selection process, and there's 50 people there, something like that. And they go, okay, how many of you have ever been involved with, as a defendant, as a plaintiff, or as a juror in a case that involved an injury with regard to a work vehicle? 45 people raised their hands. So when you say it's the most litigious society on the face of the planet, yeah, I believe you.
It's crazy.
No offense, Americans. It's just...
They do like their court, and there are a lot of lawyers making a lot of money off all this.
Whenever I go to the States, I just kind of tiptoe around because I don't know what you are and aren't. It's like Canada, except there's all this. It's not. It's super not.
Yeah.
It's super not.
Also, this is a guy who doesn't like ordering at restaurants, so like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so imagine how paranoid I am doing anything in the States.
I might get sued. But I think it's funny. So here's the deal.
I just point at what I want.
So breaking this sport. So you imagine an NHL owner suing the league over Gary Bettman getting extended. By the way, let me throw this out there. Whatever you think of Roger Goodell, you're right, probably. But the man has made the league and the owners gargantuan amounts of money, right? And that is his job. His job is to make them gargantuan amounts of money.
Would they make it anyway?
Well, I mean, they
the NFL.
Hard to argue, but I would imagine that I think they've done better than even they thought.
If you put me in charge of the NFL, how bad could I possibly
You can
screw
fuck it up.
You can fuck it up.
Nobody can fuck
for
up
sure.
anything.
Don't listen. If there's one thing that Roger Goodell does...
You know? Nobody thought blackberries would get fucked up.
Yeah.
Now look.
Roger Goodell, if there's one thing he's good at, and I think this might be the only thing, it's making piles of money for rich men.
All right.
Okay. So they make a pile of money. All of the owners.
7 years ago, by the way. Remember when everyone used blackberries? That was like 7 years ago. Another relic.
It was a thing.
Yeah.
So here's the funny part. They offered him a new contract. And Jerry Jones, again, has threatened to sue. So I guess the compromise that the owners on the competition committee have come up with is that Roger Goodell, you're not going to get a raise, but your contract is going to be more incentive-based. So where I think he used to make $40 million a year, you're going to make $40 million a year, but you have to accomplish all these goals before we'll give it to you. And he's apparently super pissed off.
When did English die?
What do you mean?
Like, words don't mean anything anymore. You're not going to make as much money. However... Here's how you make a bunch more money.
No, not a bunch more. The same, Steve.
Oh, the same.
So if I'm paying you $40 and I don't guarantee any of, I guarantee you $40 for 11 years of your career, and then on the 11th year, I get pissed off at you because you're doing an investigation and doing your job and trying to eradicate things like, I don't know.
How are you able to sue?
Domestic abuse.
Someone got renewed.
So now I'm going to you're going to sue the league, or I'm going to sue the league. I'm pissed off at you because you're trying to get rid of domestic abuse. Oh my God. I'm going to sue the league, and you're going to get the same amount of money, only it's not going to be guaranteed now.
If you spoke Klingon, I would have retained the same amount of information.
It's just so it's basically like I'm going to give you an iPhone every year. And actually, this year I would give you an iPhone, but you're going to have to do all these things to earn that same iPhone that you didn't have to last year. Okay. It's no guaranteed money. Anyway, it's really funny. I just find it very funny that because in this instance there are no good guys. They're both shitheads. So it's kind of cool to see them both just tear each other apart.
What is the most tolerable sports league in North America? Tolerable as a fan, you can look at them and go, not insufferable.
You know what it is? Sports are tolerable the less you know about what goes on in upper management. I think that you just if you want to enjoy sports more, think less about what the owners do.
I don't know.
We know too much.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's more tolerable than the other.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Depends on which one.
I think the NBA's doing a pretty good job right now.
Yeah, I was going to say the NBA.
They when they got rid of what's his nuts who had the Clippers.
I don't even remember.
Don Sterling. When they as soon as they got rid of that guy, and they hated him and tried to get him out for years. As soon as that tape came out, boom, gone.
It's just I don't know. It's like you said. Like what did you say? Something along the lines of we just know too much. Or
the less you know about what the owners are doing, the better.
The second I saw a headline, Vin Scully thinks that, and I'm like, no! And then you read it. Oh, shit, now I know that. Fuck.
Well, this old white man has the opinion of an old white man.
Yeah, I think at a certain age, you have to expect them. Like, it's like the Papa John's pizza guy being upset at the NFL that Papa John's pizza went down because they sponsor the NFL. And Pizza Hut going, no, we're fine.
This is the official pizza of Nazis. And then he has to go, no, we're not. And oh my God, we live in the dumbest timeline.
You can't really expect certain people to have nuanced opinions.
No.
You know?
If you have, like, how do you stay normal if you've got $100 million in the bank?
100 billion. Like, it's not even...
No, but if you're Papa John's guy, is it $100 million in the bank you personally have?
Billions. That guy?
How can you have a nuanced social... How can you fight for the common man? That's tough.
Yeah. I don't live in any reality that humans know.
I speak to poor people before I eat them, and their opinions are always surprising to me.
I've stopped being disappointed by when rich people don't have the same outlook on life that I do. I think everybody would be a lot happier if they realized, oh, rich people are coming from a completely different perspective than me and couldn't understand what it's like to barely pay your bills each month.
You mean rich too. You don't
wealthy.
You don't mean look at a nice condo building in Toronto and going, I'm going to get a condo there. You're talking about people going, I want the building.
Yeah.
No, what was it?
There's people like that who can do that.
The Chris Rock line, I don't want to be Shaq is rich. The guy that signs Shaq's check is wealthy.
Yeah.
Yes. That's that kind of wealth. I don't think you could have. And you know what? I don't think they care. I think they care about doing one thing.
They don't even think about you.
No. So accept that, and you'll be a lot happier. Let's get to the press conference, shall we?
Yeah. Man, we went all over the place there.
The Russian doping thing I was talking about before, it was from Brian Fogel. There's a documentary on Netflix called Icarus. That's really good.
Okay.
You should watch it.
Icarus. Good myth.
Roy Halladay passed away this week.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any Roy Halladay stories?
Never met him.
Just the one that I tweeted. I was an intern. My first game that I got to cover as an intern, as the visiting room mic. Jays, I don't remember who they were playing, unfortunately. I do know that Frank Thomas was on the Jays at the time, and it went 14 innings, and they had to use A.J. Burnett as a reliever because they ran out of pitchers, and they lost. And I missed the last train home, and I had to crash in a friend's apartment. So... as a result, the second game I show up, and I'm just a nervous intern. I'm trying to make jokes with people. I'm like, oh, I might be bad luck. Last time I was here, we didn't get out of here until midnight, and they still lost and all that. And Barry Davis, who used to work for Sportsnet, he just turns to me. He goes, it's a 7 o'clock game. And Barry Davis goes, Halladay's pitching today. We'll be out of here by 9:30. And I'm pretty sure the game ended at 9:22.
Wow.
Crazy.
Like, he was just... an excellent pitcher. Sounds like an excellent human being. Admittedly, I didn't know enough about him. What I thought was really funny and a little bit dark in the Leafs tribute to him was they show him striking out a Yankees player in the bottom of the 7th. And the crowd goes nuts. And the announcer's like, struck him out! Oh, Roy Halladay! And I looked at the score and it was 2-1 Yankees. And I'm like, boy, if that wasn't Roy Halladay's whole Blue Jays career,
I don't know.
He's just pitching a gem and getting totally let down by the bats. He was stunning though. Like he's the best pitcher in Blue Jays history, and the Jays have had some really incredible pitchers.
I think he was the best player in Blue Jays history, and I mean that over Roberto Alomar, over Joe Carter, over anybody else that you can name. He was the best player the Blue Jays ever had. And it's a lot like what you remember your video on Phil Kessel. It's a wasted era. They wasted the Roy Halladay years.
Halladay.
And there was really no reason.
Everyone knew though. Everyone knew his greatness.
Oh yeah, I think no, but I mean they still wasted it. They never got to the playoffs.
What you're saying is they should make the playoffs.
They never
should win a World
built a
Series
team around
with Roy Halladay.
And,
It's a shame.
And the way he left, and I'm not sure if anybody remembers this, it was because our clown of a general manager decided that he wanted to test the market on Roy Halladay. And Roy Halladay found out because a report leaked. And then he was like,
this
okay.
Ricciardi?
This is Ricciardi. So then Ricciardi gets fired. Anthopoulos takes over. It's his first year. And Anthopoulos tries to mend fences and goes, please, like, we didn't want to trade you. It was a Ricciardi thing. And Roy's like, you know what? I'd like to be traded.
Damn it.
And that sucks.
But it was
that sucks.
No, it was more. I think it was more Sundin than a bad like relationship. It was more of this guy's on his last leg, and we want him to win a World Series.
Well,
let's trade him to the best team in the National League.
Yeah,
which was the
and
Phillies.
then we got a whole bunch of prospects. I think it was more. It was a little more.
It wasn't
Sundin than the relationship.
Right, but I think Ricciardi and Halladay's relationship was bad.
Yeah,
because of that, and I think that's a shame.
but I think he would have been traded regardless.
And then
maybe.
Richard Lee Sam, RLEESAM on Twitter, posted this story from the Canadian Baseball Network. Roy Halladay wanted to work for the Blue Jays this spring, had to apply for some reason, and was rejected, which I thought was very odd.
He wanted to play for the Blue Jays this spring?
He wanted to work with the Blue Jays. Very strange. Very strange. Jesse, you were a pitcher at a relatively high level. What?
That's no.
I mean, at a higher level than I think most.
Had to
I
apply?
was 40.
So?
Um,
Okay, I assume you know a decent amount about pitching. More than the average schlub.
Yeah, sure. Where's this going?
What are some of the things about Halladay that you admired as a pitcher?
I think everything that everybody always talks about with Halladay is his mental focus. That's everything you heard the last couple of days. He was just so laser focused on one thing. I don't think it's a pitching thing. I think it's just a human thing where he has this control of his mind and he knows what he's doing every single day. And then everyone told the stories of the clubhouse. Like, you couldn't talk to him because he knew what he was doing all the time and made him great.
That used to be a sore point, I want to say, with Storm and Norm Rumack, is, the fan is owned by Rogers. The Jays are owned by Rogers. No Rogers station could get Roy freaking Halladay on their show. But, that's just Roy.
Yeah.
Just the way he was. Never got a chance to meet him. Walked by him once. That was it.
What's that?
I walked by Roy Halladay walking next to AJ Burnett. I felt like I was
pretty cool.
8 years old. Because those guys are both like 6'6".
Yeah.
There was a story from a former teammate of his. I don't remember who, but it was tweeted out. They walk up and they see Roy Halladay sitting at a table in the clubhouse. It's like 5:30 in the morning. And Halladay's soaking wet. And he asks him, he goes, "Oh, did you just get here? You must have walked in out of the rain." And Halladay goes, "No, I was just finishing up my workout."
Yeah, that was in spring training one year.
Yeah, spring training.
Yeah. That was before the season started.
That's
First day of spring training.
If you want to be the best,
Yeah.
that's how. Not a lot of people want to do that.
Amazing.
I don't get up at 4. I get up at 4 if I have to catch a plane, and even then I'm like, I don't have to catch this plane that bad.
What was it? The most upvoted question on our Reddit this week was our Stanley Cup Pics.
Oh, yeah. We got to do it for November.
That's right.
Pull up the old
Tampa.
standings here. I'm going to say Tampa as well.
Is it just 1 or 2? I don't remember.
Oh, it's 2.
Yeah, you got to pick the finals.
In the who's tops in the West right now?
St. Louis, LA, Winnipeg. I'm going to say Nashville, Tampa.
Can someone please keep track of these? Because I am not.
Nashville, Tampa.
Nashville, Tampa.
Am I drunk to say San Jose?
Yep.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I actually think they're pretty good.
No, they
Any
were
team
a
with
team,
Martin Jones, man.
They were a team where I was like, if they slip up, maybe the Leafs get Thornton off them, and all of a sudden the Leafs play the Sharks. I'm like, God damn,
good.
that's a good team.
Correct answer is St. Louis, Washington.
See, but you can't just pick the 2 best teams.
That's
You did.
St. Louis, Washington?
Washington's out of the
Washington's
playoffs.
9th right now.
Yeah.
I think that's bold. And you know what? I actually agree. I think Washington's going to do way better in the playoffs this year than they did last year.
Interesting.
No pressure.
Interesting.
If they make it in, people are going to be like, yes, that's great.
What are they
Good
gonna
for
be
you
like?
guys, huh?
They're going to be like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
You made your pick already?
Yeah, Tampa versus Sharks.
I had a good question tweeted to me. Can I throw this one in there? And Jesse, it might have been the one you were going to read next. neither of Matthews, Marner, or Nylander have gotten to a career NHL fight yet. Who will be the first?
Nylander.
Marner.
He's too good of a Canadian boy to fight.
He's just but he's nuts.
What, Marner?
Yeah, he's a little bit.
Yeah, but he's a little speed
out
guy.
there.
I see. Here's the thing. As long as he's playing on Matt Martin's line, it will not be Marner because Matt Martin will go, I don't think so.
Yes, but okay, if anyone tries to fight Austin Matthews, I expect Martin to jump off of the bench.
Yeah.
And,
that's why it's Nylander.
Subject himself to criminal charges. Don't touch Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Marner's too small. Matthews is too important. And Nylander's the last one.
See, that's why I picked Marner, though. The small guys always find a way to get into a fight somehow.
Marner versus
Because they get pushed around more.
Yes.
The small guys get pushed around more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other guys on your line who will fight for you.
He probably has a junior fight. Maybe.
I don't know.
I
I struggled with this one. I don't actually have a great answer. I'm going to say Nylander because sometimes I feel like the thing with Nylander is he never seems bothered by anything. No. And Matthews never seems bothered by anything. Marner's the only one that I'm like, oh, he might be a little bothered right now.
Matthews never even talks to the opposition.
No, he just kind of plays.
Except when he scores. Then he gets all excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he's not going to the other team. I scored on you. Did you notice how I did that? That was fun. I did that and felt good about it. I'm trying to look if Marner has a page on hockeyfights.com. And the answer is... I don't see one.
No
Patrick
fights.
Marleau? What? Oh, I want to see this. I want to click on Patrick Marleau's Hockey Fights page. Man, he's got a bunch. He's got like half a dozen. That's crazy. Good for him. Anyway, no, we really need to go on account of traffic, and you have a show at 3.
Yeah. Anyway, I have no idea.
You have a show.
It might be Marner.
17 minutes.
All right, so peace out, everybody. Have a great weekend. Home and home against Boston. And then we'll see you next week. Another 4-game week next week. It's going to be pretty intense. Steve is loving this with all the videos.
At least they don't play Monday this time.
Yeah.
I think they play Wednesday.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.